Hello and welcome to episode 1 of Shamrock Talk, the number one mother-son Celtics podcast on the internet. I'm your host, Jake Olin, here with my mother, Karen Olin.
Hi, everyone.
Nice wave. We're recording this on the night of January 25th, 2022, after a Celtics annihilation, I guess you would call it, of the Sacramento Kings. So we'll get to that, but I guess first thing I wanted to do is kind of give an introduction on why we're starting this podcast. And I think it's because I think you're legitimately the biggest Celtics fan
Yeah.
I know. Maybe my college roommate Cody is probably up there, and some others that will eventually probably get as guests on the podcast, but you're probably number one. So I guess starting question, do you remember the season where you really started to get into the Celtics?
I think it was Brett, my youngest, your brother, freshman year of college. I think that was the last year. I had no sports going on with my kids, and I always sort of watched the Celtics, but I don't think as often and regularly as I did.
It was definitely before that. No, it was definitely before that.
Maybe senior year. I think it's really been four rigorous years.
I have the Celtics seasons up. No, because you were pretty into it when Isaiah Thomas was playing.
Oh, yeah. I watched that too. Yeah.
And
but I don't think as regularly, like all the games.
Maybe that's true. Yeah. But that was 2016, 2017 was his last year.
Yeah. So I remember.
And Brett didn't graduate till 2019. So you were pretty into it even before.
I don't think I watched.
I mean, the two Kyrie seasons. Yeah. Maybe not like now.
Yeah.
But yeah. So that's when. Because I remember, I was thinking about it today, starting the podcast. I remember when Brett was younger, and the Bruins and the Celtics would be in the playoffs, and you'd be trying to get him to bed, and it'd be like, "But it's the playoffs; he has to stay up." And you'd be like, "There's a playoff game every night."
Yeah.
and now you're into it more than any of us.
He wanted to stay up.
So throwing that back. So yeah, I guess now let's get into tonight's game. I know. Did you prepare your high and low
for this game?
Yes.
I'm just trying to
lots of highs and not lots of lows, but
I know they just were unstoppable. It was like a practice. I mean, it really was like a practice. I don't think there was much of a defense. They were shooting terribly.
Yeah.
The Kings were. So not a lot of I think that my high was the fourth quarter when all the young guys came in and they kept the intensity up. Their passing was great. Everybody was scoring. They kept the score still where it was when the starters came out.
So interestingly enough, that's my low.
Oh, was it?
I think he didn't put them in early enough.
I agree. 100%.
We were crushing them. And it's
I agree.
In the third, I don't think Pritchard or Romeo played until the fourth quarter, right?
No.
Yeah. And Pritchard in general, why isn't he in the rotation? I don't get it.
Yeah. And Langford, he was playing so well, and now to not get in at all. Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Even if so I saw. So I guess another kind of, if we want to go back to why we're starting the podcast and why I think it's interesting, is you watch every game, but you're not on like Twitter, on like NBA Twitter and Celtics Twitter, seeing the opinions. So you're very isolated and only watching the games, while I'm on Twitter watching the game. So on Twitter, people were saying maybe Romeo, that he doesn't want to play Romeo because he'll be part of a trade in the coming days with the trade deadline coming up. And so that was a conspiracy theory on maybe why he didn't get in. But that, again, that was my low. I don't understand the logic on not playing him.
I was going to say
all the young guys.
I was going to ask about Romeo as well. Why in the last few games his minutes have been non-existent? He really has not played a lot. Yeah. And he was one of the go-to people during some of those tight games. He was one of the first off the bench to go in.
I mean, the argument could be that didn't work.
Yeah.
We lost all those games.
I think there's a lot of some of those.
Yes. Yeah.
Not working.
But that was my low. My other. I mean, I had two highs and two lows, both kind of obvious and non-obvious. That was my non-obvious low. My obvious low was the Sacramento Kings, who were just terrible.
I don't know how they force themselves to stay out the whole game. I really don't. I don't know how you keep yourself up when you're playing that way, missing shot after shot. Embarrassing.
Yeah, it was really bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, and my obvious highs were the Jays. I think they played really well.
I agree.
I think Tatum actually did a good job passing out of the traps today.
Yes.
And I think
yeah.
a couple early just terrible heat checks by both of them checking up threes. But I mean, other than that, I thought they were really good.
Yeah.
And my still kind of an obvious high, but my less obvious was Robert Williams was an animal. He had like 17 I think.
Yeah.
17 rebounds today.
Yes.
I have the stats
Maybe
up here. That's a career high for him. 17 rebounds, 13 points. And I think he's probably been the season high if, we're a little over 500 now, maybe a little less than what we want to be, but his breakout, he's the rare Celtic that we've drafted and developed and has now turned into a player that has real value. And
I agree.
Yeah.
2 years ago, I wouldn't have, I didn't think his defense was great. I think he constantly was blocking shots, was kind of out of position, and he has come so far. His athleticism and now he's
a beast.
IQ, and he's come a long way.
Yeah, he's not only he's a major trade piece for the contract that we signed him to. I don't know. I think he's been good.
You know who's one of my favorite now is Grant Williams. I think
from
last year to this year is his defense and his shooting has been great, but defending, I think the last one was Bradley Beal. I think some stars recently in games have thought that they are going to score on him easily, and his defense has been phenomenal. He inside the lane has been so good, which we don't have much of that. We don't have much toughness inside the lane, and I think he is
common.
Yeah, he is a bright spot in defense. I
would agree. So do you have a low? No lows? I mean,
this game, I don't think there were a lot of lows.
No, we won by 50. It's hard to come up with many lows.
I think everyone played
again
pretty good. I think Schroeder did not have a great game.
Of the day. No,
Schroeder's probably
that's a good low too. He's got to be on his way out. I mean,
and last game, I don't think he had the best game either. I just, for some reason, I think with Smart back, maybe he's not feeling as confident, or I don't know, but he definitely, the last two games, I didn't think played well.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Another thing you might not be aware of that Twitter was talking about today is contractually, Marcus Smart as of today is now eligible to be traded. So there's a lot of talk on him, being moved before the trade deadline, which is, a couple weeks from now. And
did you hear he was like plus 72 the last two games?
I think
defensively, I don't think they can. I think
I agree.
They've played so differently with him back.
I agree.
And I don't love him as a point guard. I don't think he's outstanding. I don't think he's terrible, but defensively, I think his knowledge on the court, and I think he's number one in the NBA for steals, they said today.
Yeah, he's one of the reasons. I think before the game, at least, we were ranked fifth in defense. It might be higher after today.
Yeah.
But he's obviously a huge part of that.
I think he and Rob Williams.
I don't think, I saw like DeJounte Murray get kicked out for a Marcus Smart trade. Like that just sounds terrible. Like I don't think other team, like he's valued as much as among the league as what he brings to us. So I agree. I'm very anti-trade Smart, but a lot of people think, if we're gonna shake it up, and
that's the shake up, my feeling.
Yeah. we could get into
the
that.
Shake up.
I think we can get into your other opinions in other weeks when we're not destroying teams, when people aren't playing really well. But yeah, it could also be some recency bias. We just crushed two teams in a row.
Yeah.
That helps a lot.
Everybody's very high on the Jays right now.
Yeah, I know.
And they have played well. They
have played
both played well, and Tatum had an outstanding. You could not argue with the 3-point shooting last game, especially this game as well. He turned it all around, being 0 for 21 coming into that game.
Again, I think both Jalen and Jason had two terrible threes in the first quarter still, though. They're like, oh, we're just going to Tatum had like it was the second shot of the game, I think, where he like stepped back from long and like.
Well, he had one shot where he missed the rim completely.
Yeah,
Like
it might have been, and then I think Jalen had an air ball too. But I mean, again, today's not the day for those complaints. I don't think.
No.
We'll have. No. I'm sure we'll have.
No, it was a fun game. It was really fun, and I enjoyed the fourth quarter because sometimes you can go into a fourth quarter and have a chaotic game, back and forth, and I think that crew did a great job. Not only driving to the hoop, but passing the ball to each other. And it looked like they were composed, which sometimes you get to that fourth quarter and you're blowing them out and they've just come off the bench and it's just not fun to watch. They were fun.
I saw a funny tweet about that after the first quarter. I can't remember who tweeted it, but it was like, oh no, the Celtics have their worst fear of large lead against a bad team.
I know exactly. Yeah.
What could possibly go wrong?
Yeah. I guess the one thing I will bring up is the Portland game, and one of the reasons I think we lost. And one of the complaints that I have with Jason Tatum, who I think is incredibly talented, was shot choices at the end. And he was driving regularly, but not hitting threes and not hitting his outside shot. And he was still having a great game, just was not hitting outside. And he and Brown sort of shot up a three at different times in a close game when I thought they just stopped driving. And a lot of times in those close games, it's like they stop driving, so that drives me a little crazy. I think that mental choice of what's a better shot, me being contested with one or two people shooting a three, or me continuing to drive in the lane. So that in the last three games is probably one of my big, I think, complaints as far as.
And I mean, that's the only close game. I mean,
the last two.
The issue this year hasn't been blowing out teams we should blow out. It's like, can we close a close game? And we haven't. So I mean, we could be up over the last two games, but let's win some close ones and actually battle some teams. The Bulls game, the game you were at, that was good.
That was a great game.
Yeah, that was a good closeout game. I mean, I think it's safe to say we're trending in a good direction. I'd say the last.
I hope we'll know next week. The next two games are easy.
Need to be wins, yes.
Pelicans,
I mean, if we can get it's before the Pelicans. We have a back-to-back.
Hawks.
Hawks
playing
first
well as well.
Friday.
Yeah,
and then Pelicans.
And then next
so if we could win, then it's Heat.
And Hornets again.
Yeah.
Which they are good. The Hornets are good. That was one of my favorite games to watch, only because their passing of the ball. The movement is just so fun. They're a fun team to watch.
Which is what, I mean, annoying to see two of our former players in Hayward and Terry.
But hasn't that happened?
Like that.
I mean, yeah. I mean, that's happened a few times.
Headache.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's I mean, not much to say about this game. Bad time to start a podcast. I needed a game where we lost and you were riled up and
I know, that's what I said. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's kind of hard to get up for this because it was all good. I mean, there was nothing negative.
Maybe the podcast is a good
and I'm happy about the good, but I think this season has really been about what do we need to fix, what do we need to tweak in a close game.
Which I think a lot of the talk, again, that was kind of the talk this morning before this game with Marcus Smart now being eligible to be traded. And I think, I don't think people are talking about that now after he's been great and we played well. He actually, I mean, he didn't even shoot. He was 0 for 3 today.
He had no points.
No points, but 7 assists plus 3. So I another fun Twitter fact, obviously number 36. He was plus 36 against the Wizards and plus 36 against Sacramento.
Oh, was he? Yeah.
So
I could definitely see that. I was reading an article the other day. I don't know what game it was, and it was one that we lost. And we were playing well the whole time. It was, I don't know which game it was. There's been so many like that. But the reporter said that we were in the bonus for the 8 minutes and I don't know how many seconds, 8 minutes and 30 seconds, almost 9 minutes. And we didn't go to the line once. We did not draw one foul.
Sidestep 3.
Yeah.
Sidestep 3.
So, and that's what they were saying is that like not one
No team
foul. We were in the
basketball.
bonus. Yeah.
ISO hero ball.
Did
Sidestep
not
3.
go to the line. And what a mistake that is. Whether that's coaching, players, like how is that happening? That fundamental thing. Why aren't you going to the lane? So it's just like I think those small things that I don't know. It's easy to say from off the court when you're not playing. But
that's a coaching thing though. Like, why aren't we running plays? And why
I agree. Or players not listening. So I don't know. 9 minutes and no fouls.
That would be a huge problem.
Yeah. So that is a big question.
Yeah. So two blowout wins in a row, great. But I mean, let's win some close ones. Let's win some hard ones.
Yeah.
Because that's gonna be the playoffs. We're not gonna like crush these. Like, we need to. I mean, if we want to eventually build to something, we need to be able to win close games and close out games well. And we've been just abysmal.
Yeah. Even today they started double teaming him. So I think they double teamed Tatum. After that first quarter, they started putting 2 on him. And I think it became a little more challenging, not much because it wasn't great defense, but that is going to be the question. What happens against a good defensive team that can actually start giving Tatum a challenge and Jaylen Brown a challenge, and ball movement. I mean, with that starting 5, keeping your ball movement going. So it'll be interesting, especially against the Heat and Charlotte next week.
Having Enes Freedom out of the lineup has been kind of nice too. It's made a huge difference.
He was bad today. There were some glad he's had moments where he's gotten into games where he's been a little better this year, I thought. Brief moments. But today he just was slow. He was blocked. It was definitely not bench a good guy. Freedom. Yeah.
Hyping up the players, giving high fives.
Yes.
I like him there. But in the game, I do think, do you think it's time to move Horford to the bench? Why is Grant Williams not starting?
I agree. It'll be interesting. I think just size.
Like a Horford, Robert Williams. Why do you need that though? Like, what other team is starting 2 centers?
Yeah. I don't know. I think they rely on him when they're not playing ISO. He is a good passer. And you saw that a couple times today when Tatum was out of the game. He can
play a bunch of minutes.
He gets it high and he is a good He's one of our good passers. I mean, we don't have a lot of great passers and he's one of the better ones. But recently in his games, he's not done a lot. Like it seems to not, his shots not going in, I agree. I'm a big Grant Williams fan. Yeah. And they said that there was another, which I agree, starting some chemistry between he and Schroeder coming off the bench. He and Schroeder actually seem to play well together. They run the pick and roll a few times well together. And having he and Schroeder come off the bench together was one suggestion that somebody had, which I think is a great idea.
Well, the other option out of the starting lineup would be to trades for a point guard. Trade Schroeder, trade an asset, trade Romeo Langford, get a real point guard that can start and do it that way. Yeah. But I just don't like Horford and Williams starting.
Yeah. I don't know what the reasoning for that is.
Note for podcast next time, we need to get you some headphones because I can kind of hear myself. So I hope that doesn't come through to the others. I can hear myself through your computer.
Yeah, I hear it crackling.
Yeah. So I mean, hopefully
so I have my AirPods.
Next time.
Do you have your AirPods in?
I do. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's fine for next time.
Yeah.
We're new
at
episode. This. Yeah, first episode. I'm sitting on the floor.
The Gringo and the Grandma.
That is a better name. We should have.
Isn't that funny?
Go with that first. It just doesn't have to do with the Celtics, but I also can't see how long we've been going. So I have what time did we start? It's I think like 10, maybe 15 minutes we've been going. I have no idea.
I think we are going to have so much more to talk about next game.
I agree.
I think this is a rough one. Everybody was great.
Yeah. Short intro. I'm thinking, do we want to, I mean, Friday, Saturday is kind of tough. I'm thinking maybe we double up.
Yeah. Not after every game. I don't think we do that.
I agree. I mean,
but let's do
if
Sunday.
we feel like it, if we're both watching, then maybe. But yeah, I was thinking maybe Saturday night, Sunday.
Saturday night I can do. Yeah.
Yeah.
We could
have a glass of wine, lose
Yeah.
a close one, and really, really start the show.
Yeah.
But
did we lose the Pelicans last time?
No, I think we beat the Pelicans. Let me look it up.
There were a couple bad ones we lost to.
There were,
early on. So
let me check.
The Hawks, I'm pretty sure we beat the first time. Or the last time.
We played the Hawks more than once, right? Yeah.
But I don't remember the Pelicans.
We beat the Pelicans 104-98 8 days ago. It was the right before the Hornets game.
Yeah. Okay. That's what it was. But it was much closer than it was supposed to be, I think.
Yeah. I mean, they're pretty bad.
Yeah. I think that was.
They might be the worst team in the league, right?
I don't know. The Kings are right there right now.
Oh, man. Yeah. They didn't have, what's his face either.
Who?
Their point guard, player I'd actually love to have on the Celtics.
The Kings?
Why is his name slipping me? Yeah.
Fox?
Yes, De'Aaron Fox.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard them say that. He's been out for a little.
Yeah. But yeah, they're still pretty miserable. They were actually, so that was actually a big talk too, is they're going to be unloading players because they're terrible, and maybe some players don't make the trip home and make a trade with them. But after this game, I don't want any of their guys.
Who are you picking up exactly?
Yeah. Well, they were saying maybe
we can't trade
Smart
at this point.
No, I agree.
Unless there's a nagging injury that we don't know about,
it would
right?
be a disaster.
Unless there's a nagging injury we don't know about.
He is kind of always hurt now. You can't. I mean,
yeah.
Who are you gonna get? The issue is who are you gonna get?
He seems like the heart, really, right? If
yes.
take away 100%. Him. What is? I don't know. He makes it exciting to watch.
You'd need like another veteran.
Yeah.
The only move I'd want us to make is for a veteran, kind of like a Smart, but maybe a little better, who energizes the team and kind of energizes the young guys. But that goes one of two ways.
Yeah, I'd be sad. We can't let
Smart's
him go.
My favorite.
Yeah, me too.
But yeah, because it's been, teams have done this in the past. Like the two first examples that come to mind, I have one good one is the Suns, where they had Devin Booker, Bridges, these young guys.
Yeah.
They weren't really successful. They bring in a Chris Paul. He's the leader. They rally around him. They're in the finals. They're the best team in the league so far this year. A move like that, where you bring in a high caliber veteran who kind of, says, this is how you win. This is how. And
Paul is amazing.
Yeah. I mean, but I guess
that I've watched him, he is still playing at such a high level.
The other, example is Jimmy Butler to the Timberwolves, which was a mess.
Sorry, I can't. Who?
Jimmy Butler to the Timberwolves before he was on the Heat.
Yeah.
So they had Karl Anthony Towns, young guys again that were, Anthony Wiggins was still on the team at the time. Young guys who, up and coming guys who were kind of, again, in a decently similar situation to us. They hadn't had the success that, the Jays have had, but young guys who are kind of trying to
garbled.
Okay. It could just be the internet, hopefully. But
oh, good. Okay. Just making sure. We need to be very clear for everybody.
Yeah. All our listeners, like the 5 family members. That
hey, I have a couple people at school that are very excited about listening.
Oh, really?
Eventually,
nice.
Not this one. I said this was the test run.
Oh, I'm putting it out.
And they're
tonight,
not. And
so
what are they going to hear about this game? Not
yeah,
much.
Exactly. Not much. But yeah, I'm putting this out tonight. I'll have some clips that I'll clip out and put on Instagram and Facebook. So we'll be ready to go. But the Timberwolves, that's what I was on. So the Timberwolves brought in Jimmy Butler and to try to, do the same thing that Chris Paul was, be the kind of the energy guy, energized. This is how you win. This is how you play tough, kind of in the NBA. Yeah. And it was a disaster. They hated him. Karl Anthony Towns was like, it's him or me, kick him out. There's an infamous story of Jimmy Butler in practice. Like one practice, he took all like the third team guys in a scrimmage and just beat the brakes off Karl Anthony Towns, Andrew Wiggins, and the rest of the first team guys, and like didn't speak to them after and left. And he was traded like 2 days later.
Yeah.
And then the Timberwolves are still a mess. So that would be the only real big kind of switch up trade I'd want to make is something like that. If a guy, but I don't even know who's available. And again, it goes one of two ways. I mean, I don't mind like move Schroeder if I don't mind moving Langford.
I don't
if you
think
can
they
get a
will
guy
move
that's gonna,
Schroeder. I don't know. I don't know who it's going to be a surprise. I think
I would
could
be
see
fine
a
if we kind of
Langford.
stood. Yeah, but who you get? No one's gonna trade anything good for him.
Yeah.
Like
But
I would be fine.
I don't know.
If we stood
You
pat
know
at
who
the
has not
deadline.
played well is Josh Richardson the last couple games.
Yeah, again.
He has not been as he had some games. There were a couple there where he was a little more impressive. But I don't know. He could be somebody that
But again, I
might
don't know what
potentially
his
trade as
value
well.
is.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see. We got a little bit of while. I'm sure this will be conversations in our next couple episodes as well.
Yeah.
But
I don't think they'll trade any of the starters. That's my feeling. I think the 5
agree.
will stay.
And I'm fine
Grant
with that.
Williams will stay.
It could be some recency bias, but I'm fine with that. At least
Fine
for
with
this
what?
year. So keep staying put.
I can't hear you.
Riding it out. Staying put. Kind of riding out.
It's like you're a robot.
Staying put.
Oh, staying put. Yeah.
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 Just
I
riding
think we
out
should
with the
too.
season with these guys. Yeah.
I agree. I think we should see how it goes. So it's not till the 10th, right?
February. Let's
10th.
see. NBA trade deadline. February 10th. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So
We
they
got
have
some
another
time.
week.
Maybe in a following episode, I'll come up with some mock trades.
Yeah.
We can
So I guess we
analyze.
have, I think that puts us through the Heat game, right?
Oh, for sure.
And
It's
the
just-
Charlotte game. Yeah,
Yeah,
all
so
next week.
we'll have some
So it gives us
tests.
2 weeks actually
Mhm.
from this
Yeah.
Thursday
Mhm.
before the deadline. But I think I don't know, especially now. What are they talking about now? They've got to be all feeling pretty good after these 2
Yeah,
games.
exactly. Two blowout wins. We'll
Yeah.
see what the future holds.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's it. I think,
I can't even hear you now. Like, I
oh,
don't know why.
what the heck?
You think it's the
Technical
internet?
difficulties to end episode 1.
Yeah, like you,
Hate to
like
see it.
you
Well-
are indecipherable at this point.
Can you hear me now? No.
You sound like this. Literally like that.
Okay. Well, hopefully it comes through
Not
on my
even
end.
words.
I don't
need
know.
the closed caption on.
Yeah.
Colombian speak.
Well, I'm just gonna close it out if you can't hear me. This has been episode 1 of Shamrock Talk. Yeah, hopefully this comes through. Hopefully my mic's not jacked up. But we'll see. You can follow
It's got
us.
to be the
I've
connection.
set up
I can't hear.
I've set up all the
anything.
social medias. So we're on Instagram
I would
at
stop the recording.
Shamrock Talk. We are on Twitter, I think, at Shamrock Talk Pod. I couldn't get Shamrock Talk on Twitter. That's disappointing. We have a Facebook set up as well. I think email talkingshamrock@gmail.com. I couldn't get the Gmail either, but yeah, I think Twitter and Instagram is really your best find. Us, follow us there. I'll be tweeting out the clips today as long as this comes out fine. But yeah, we'll see you guys next time. Probably, I'd say Saturday night, Sunday. We'll be recording another episode. So
I haven't understood
you
one
next
word
time.
for 5 minutes, just so you know. like
All right.
nothing.
See
It'll
you
be
next
interesting
time.
to hear it played back to see if it